Weiss+Associates presents Overcoming the Fear of the U.S. Government. Fear is a built-in genetic trait designed by the DNA within us all to either fight or take flight when situations arise that cause or have the potential to create harm to one's person. Most Americans are familiar with this fight or flight syndrome, and many have it as an issue in dealing with the Bureau of the Department of the Treasury known as the Internal Revenue Service. What contributes to the impulse of fear is a good starting point for this discussion. Some are rather basic if you see a nearby dangerous animal, gunfire, or a burning building, but that's not the scope for this presentation. However, most Americans immediately tense up with the mention of the IRS. You go to your mailbox and find a letter from them. Your heart responds to this fight or flight syndrome by increasing the heart rate. You might even start to sweat or even hyperventilate. The fear in that moment is very real, but it's not something that your physical senses can deal with. The fear grabs some as their minds race to consider all the negative aspects of, what do they want of me now? Thoughts may arise about the IRS invading your privacy, taking away your property, or stealing money from your bank account. You feel helpless. They make you feel as if they could do anything they want to you. The fear makes you cower and feel that you're a slave in your own country that's supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Then you get angry because you distrust the IRS and government institutions at large. Acting out of fear or anger will likely not produce a positive outcome for you. But you must realize that as all power corrupts, it's up to you alone to insist on your freedom as a sovereign American. It's natural that government, like any other corporation or entity, looks to grow its influence. Perhaps famed investor and best-selling author Doug Casey said it best in this interview.
One is America, which is a marvelous idea, a unique idea, fantastic idea. I'm extremely pro-American, but America has ceased to exist. It's been replaced by the United States, which is just another of 225 nation states that covers the face of the earth like a skin disease at this point. So we ought to make that distinction, and people shouldn't conflate these two things, the ideal with the political reality. So what you've got to do is get a lot of your assets out of the control of the government that thinks it owns you, because it's treating you like a milk cow now. And as what happened in Zimbabwe and Yugoslavia shows, if they think they need to, they'll treat you like a beef cow.
If you're a person who wishes to be neither milked nor slaughtered, you have to become educated on how to stay out of the traps that government sets to ensnare you into their schemes. Perhaps you've even heard of someone commenting about fighting unfounded IRS claims with some success, but at the end of the discussion, you remember hearing the comment that they had better watch out or their email address might soon become dumbamerican@alcatraz.com. You begin to sink into your chair and drink a cold one to try to relax from all the stress. This may have been your experience or something close to it, as many Americans are so full of angst that they just open their wallets and send in whatever they can to keep the voracious wolf from coming to the front door. For some, they just get so mad that they stop filing and paying with no plan of action, but have that nagging fear in the back of their mind that it will never simply go away. So they look for gurus who claim that they can help them out of their fear. All the descriptions to this point address those who have, at some point in their lives, filed and paid a Form 1040 U.S. individual income tax return. The IRS letter started with the greeting phrase, "Dear Taxpayer." So for U.S. taxpayers, if they don't file or pay, the fear is very real and the IRS seems larger than life. Still, in the quiet moments, away from friends and family, doubt creeps into the mind. You put your head in your hands and just shudder to think about what might happen. Do you see yourself in any of these kinds of situations or emotions? Most Americans certainly do, and the fear becomes contagious if you don't know what to do next. From a slightly different approach, you find stated in the Bible at Hosea 4:6 the statement attributed to God actually saying to a prophet, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge." This is a start in that the word shows that you need knowledge, but it doesn't state where to locate that knowledge. Remember, this can be not only spiritual in context, but also for use in everyday life activities. The purpose for mentioning this is to help you see that your very first step is to find the knowledge for the issue you have before you, whatever that issue may be. The next step is to realize the true nature of the federal income tax in regard to the jurisdiction within which it is only applicable. Our website goes into further detail as to the particulars of how legislation was created to tax the majority of Americans. As a very brief synopsis, the idea of the federal income tax was struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1895. Nearly 2 decades later, President William H. Taft pitched the idea again, proclaiming it as a tax upon the federal government itself and not on sovereign Americans. The skilled lawyer got the measure passed, and later, provisions made it possible for those sovereign Americans to volunteer to become taxpayers. I bet all this information was never presented to you in school or in direct correspondence with government employees. You can view our videos on jurisdiction and the revocation of election, as well as many others, by clicking on their links located in the Resource Center of our website. We'll not go into too much detail about those individual events in this video, as we wish to stay on topic regarding the power to overcome your fear of government reprisal. This fear can only be overcome by the acquisition of knowledge regarding a particular topic. Remember, it was once considered heresy to insist that the earth was not flat and was not the center of the universe. Just because those in power tried to use force to punish those who didn't believe in the official narrative didn't make them correct. Might doesn't make right. The truth comes out only when those who've sought and obtained it stubbornly insist on focusing on facts. The government acknowledges that the federal income tax is voluntary to those who don't derive income from federal property. The voluntary part of entering the U.S. tax club was the submission of filing your first Form 1040 income tax return. The important part to keep in mind is that the U.S. Congress also provided for a way for those volunteers to lawfully exit that tax club. Of course, it behooves them to not draw attention to its existence nor where the statute can be found. Weiss+Associates provides the methodology for all American nationals to leave the U.S. tax club with the blessing of the Congress. We have well over 3,000 clients, so our knowledge base on workable solutions is vast. Using federal laws against the national government fraud and deception toward the very people it was established to protect is the only way to put the fight portion of the fight-or-flight syndrome into effect. The revocation of election ends the claim the IRS has against you, but would never tell you anything about. The choice is yours. Revoke the election and keep your hard-earned money. Pull out of the banking system, which is ostensibly in the control of the national government. Enjoy the lifetime financial benefit from all the money you earn if you don't derive income that's effectively connected with the performance of the functions of a public office. American nationals are lawful non-taxpayers and can never truly be called tax cheats, tax protesters, or tax evaders, as the IRS statutes simply do not apply. Understanding jurisdiction is key. When you have facts and the law on your side, it's much easier to act with confidence and resist the entrapments of those who continually wish to influence your thoughts and behaviors. Sometimes, those machinations are immoral and even illegal. We invite you again to view, in particular, the videos on jurisdiction and the revocation of election. Our Resource Center contains a concise library of study material that can help you attain true financial freedom and escape the plantation that is the national government's network of schemes. Please email us at bilateral@gmx.com if you wish to move forward on the revocation of election, or if you have any other questions about federal income taxation in the United States. Thanks for watching, and give a thumbs up to this video if you found it informative. Also, we ask that you subscribe to our channel and even distribute these videos to those in your circle of like-minded friends.